Manzer's really enjoying picking little bits of grass out of those weeds. Maybe he's eating the weeds. It's hard to tell. I don't know exactly what those are that are growing over there. That's relatively recent. We have a manure pile right on the other side of it, so who knows what could be growing over there. But I'm hoping that he's wise enough to... Oh, now he's going to try to itch his belly. I hope he's wise enough to not eat anything that could potentially not be safe for him. It is September in the Midwest, so we have quite a bit of mud this time of year, and I want to make sure that I get Nika and Manzer very adjusted to the pasture and the other horses before winter comes. Today I will be introducing Nika and Manzer to the bigger pasture and let them just sort of get used to the environment before I turn them out with the other horses. You see what that cat did? So they climb up the wall like that and then pop out the wall inside my arena. So imagine riding around and all of a sudden a cat jumps up the wall right next to you. So our horses are pretty cat proof by now, but the first few times it happens, boy, it sure scares the bejesus out of them. Okay, we're just gonna let Manzer out to play for a few minutes. I moved all the other horses around so they can go out for big in the pasture. Nope, stay right there, babe. So I have removed all the other horses out of the pasture and put them into a different area. So if you hear any squealing, that's why. It's because now some horses can touch over the fence who weren't able to touch before. So they might be just talking to each other. Now, Nika has spent a lot of time in this pasture. This is where she's lived for, about 8 years, and then I separated her when she was bred. Nika is very familiar with this pasture. It's just a matter of her getting reacquainted. And the biggest thing is I want her to take a walk around and introduce Manzer to everything. You'll see Nika walking around, sniffing all the different piles of manure, and basically what she's doing is she's just checking out and seeing who's been here. Now Manzer's copying his mom and doing the same thing. He's learning all about the different horses too from the scent of the manure. The simple act of checking out their environment goes on for quite some time, and this is really important for them though because they can just kind of get familiar with who's been there, and they don't have any other horses out here that are challenging them, so they're not in any kind of a hurry. Nika right away, of course, goes over into the shelter and finds the salt. She remembers it being there from before. Now keep a close eye on Manzer for a moment. Look at his expression and how it changes. See, all of a sudden he notices this great big rock. And did you see how he kind of stopped and it set him back a little bit? And then he goes from one eye to the other eye, and then he goes from one nostril to the other nostril when checking it out. He's simply investigating it to see what it is and to make sure it's safe. Nika and Manzer have been out here long enough now where they really need to start investigating the rest of the pasture. They're just kind of hanging out towards the front, and that's really not doing us any good. I need Manzer to check out the rest of the place. So I'm going to take a flag and sort of drive Nika off a little bit, and Manzer, he's just going to follow his mom. He's not really sure what's going on. So, but this way I can kind of let her know, hey, get out there, go show your kid around so he can get used to the place. That's much better. Now they're at least following the fence line, and so Manzer can see where the boundaries of the pasture are. Nika is the type of horse that genuinely loves to run, so it's really nice to see her finally be able to stretch her legs out again. She's been in a smaller paddock where they can kind of rip around and kick up their heels a little bit, but not get a full-out run. This is going to be so good for her, and it's especially going to help with that big baby belly she has. That weight will come off pretty quickly now that she's got a lot more space to move around. When they're in a smaller area, it seems like they'll go from their food to the water to the food to the water, and they just don't move around as much as they should. This is so good for Manzer too. Now that he's all healed and we don't have to worry about him being sore, it's really nice to watch him just stretch his legs out and run. I'm so glad to see Nika finally taking Manzer away from the gate. It's so important when we do start introducing other horses. The last place we want them hanging out is at the gate because that's where everybody tends to kind of argue a little bit. So they're safer the further out they can go in the pasture. So the more familiar Manzer gets with his surroundings, the safer he's going to be because he's going to know how far he can go. Before I introduce any horses out with Nika and Manzer, I'm going to make sure to put them out here a few more times like this, just a couple hours a day for a few days, just so they get good and comfortable with the surrounding. He's hungry.
No, they played on, I watched them on TV today. Actually, I watched the first half and I took a nap.
That was a lot of work for a little guy. They spent about an hour out in the pasture investigating, and now I'm going to put them back in their paddock and then turn the other horses all back out into the pasture. Well, that was fun. I'm sure they were very happy to get out and stretch their legs. And no video would be complete without seeing the cutest little foal ever, and Clover, the world's cutest kitty cat. She's also the most needy cat, and I love that about her. I like cats that have personality. You know, a lot of people say that they don't like cats because they're jerks, and I say, you just haven't met a cat like Clover yet. And all of our kitties are really nice. We have 4 of them. They're very nice kitties. If you'd like to learn more about Manzer or follow his journey, I'll leave a link down in the description below to his full story. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.